Hey guys, in this video I'll be showing you guys how to eliminate no-shows once and for all, right? And if you need help implementing these systems, I'll leave my Instagram link down below and drop me a DM. So guys, let's just dive straight into the video. As I said earlier in this video, I'll be showing you guys how to eliminate no-shows for your SMA, right? But before I do that, the first thing that I need to show you guys is why is it important for you to eliminate no-shows for your business, right? And why is it necessary for you to have these systems and processes to make sure that you're having as many shows as possible, right? So let's just dash straight in, right? So first things first, right? What is the cost of a no-show, right? So let's imagine this scenario where you're generating leads for $30, right? You're running paid ads for your B2B ads for your SMA, right? You're generating leads for $30, right? And you have a $60 cost per book call, meaning that for every 2 leads that you generate, one of them books in, right? That would mean you have a $60 per book call, right? And let's assume, right, for every book call that you get, you have a 50% show rate. So you have to book 2 calls to have 1 live call. So that would mean it costs you $120 for 1 live call, right? So if you want to have 300 appointments a month, right, that every single month for the whole year, that will mean you have to spend $216,000 per year in advertising, right? But if you have a 50% show rate or a 50% drop-off rate, that would mean you only have 150 live calls per month, right? So that means 1,800 calls are missed every single year just because you have a 50% show rate, right? So now assume you have a 20% close rate. That would mean in the year you've missed out on 360 deals, right? So imagine your average sale is $3,000 for your services. You know, you missed out 363K payments, right? That would mean $1,080,000 have been missed out in revenue every year, right? Plus the ads the ads in order to get those appointments. So in total, you'd be losing $1,188,000 a year because of just no-shows. So how do we solve this problem? Right? So first things first, we need to understand the expectations behind running ads and understand the expectations behind the characters that you're dealing with in your SMA when you're trying to book appointments, right? Some niches will just generally have a better show rate, right? Just because of the archetype of, you know, the character that you're dealing with or the avatar that you're dealing with. For example, like anyone in contracting or roofing or like any type of like, you know, contracting type of industry in SMA, right? You will have worse show rates, right? Because they do not know how to use Google Calendar and they're always on the road, they're always busy, right? So they barely check their emails and texts, right? So sometimes some niches will just have worse show rates than others, and that's just expected, right? So when you try to think of a niche, just have that in your mind, right? Or for example, on like the contrast side, like say you're dealing with an e-com owner, right? They're tech savvy, they know how to use Google Calendar, they know how to use Zoom, they know how to use like CRM softwares, and like they know how to like reply to emails. They're always on their laptop, right? So what niche do you think will have a better show rate? Like clearly like e-com, right? The second thing, right? Do not change much. Like it's important to like test out multiple ad campaigns, test out multiple for using cold outreach. But obviously, when you go into a niche and we're testing an offer, when you're testing all that, just like ads, do not like, you know, just suddenly change a lot of things within your funnel, right? What you want to do is change a few things and just wait it out like 1 to 2 months and to see if it actually makes an incremental change in the show rates in your business, right? Moving forward, right? Another way to try to reduce your no-shows, right, is to track everything. Track your KPIs, track your metrics, track your show rates, track your no-show rates, track your cost per acquisition, track your cost per call, track all these numbers, right? Because what gets tracked gets improved, right? So if you're not tracking anything in your business, that is the first problem that you have. So make sure, if you're watching this video and if you don't have any spreadsheets for your SMA, go make some, because you're gonna need it and you're gonna thank me later when you have them, right? So the third way to do it is what I call the Hormozy tip, right? So just call the lead. So whenever a lead books through the landing page, call them right away to see if they can speak right now instead of 2 days ahead, right? So for example, you have a lead, right? They just book in the calendar, and usually they're gonna book themselves in advance. They're not gonna book themselves for the same day, right? So if you see that they're active and you see that they just book themselves in, instead of waiting to speak to them to next day, knowing that there's this chance of them 50% not showing up, why don't you just give them a call right now since they already are looking at your funnel, and ask them if they can speak right now. Most of the times they'll say yes, and this way you can increase their show rates, right? And another point about this is, if they're going through your funnel, if they're watching your ad, or like if they're speaking to you in a cold DM or cold outreach or cold call, right? Their pain or ambition is at an all-time high. So that means they'll therefore more likely be able to close more. Not only that, they'll most likely show up because they're actually thinking about ways to solve their problem. They're like, oh, I saw this guy's ad, or this guy reached out to me for this specific thing. Let me speak to him, right? It just kind of makes sense. It's pretty straightforward, right? Another way to try to improve your show rates is by giving them like response eliciting appointment reminders. And what I mean by this, most agency owners, they just give the most simple like reminders when it comes to booking appointments. They'll be like, hey John, your appointment is locked in from 1 hour ahead, right? How about you do this instead? How about you're like, hey John, quick questions before we meet in 1 hour. What market do you service, right? See, just by framing these automations in a different way, or framing these SMSs or emails that you send out in a different way, might elicit a certain response for them and get them more engaged. And if they elicit a response, we all know they're more likely just going to show up to the call, because they'll be like, oh, the more they engage with you, the more they build that connection with you, the more likely they're just going to show up to the call. It's pretty straightforward stuff. Nothing I'm saying here is like, out of the world. It's pretty straight. Everything I'm saying here is pretty straightforward, and it's all the internet. I'm just, gave you guys a page. You guys can take it. I can share it with you just so that you can have it and just serve as a guide towards how to reduce your no-shows. Anyways, moving forward, right? You want to get people excited to show them that you're different before they talk to you. So what you want to have is definitely like a VSL, or you want to have like a sales letter. You want to sell them to a pre-call video or whatever. You want to make sure that you're able to position your services different, right? Because if you're able to do that, they're definitely going to buy from you, right? Because if they're just booking in a call and you just have basic automations and all of that, they might just think you're just like everyone else trying to sell them. But like if they actually watched your video and your sales funnel explaining to them why you guys are different and what you guys exactly do and how you help others like them in the market, they're most likely gonna like show up to the call, right? Because they want to see the upfront value. Otherwise they'll just think it's a waste of time. They think, oh, I've spoken to people like this before, they're just gonna pitch me something and make me pay upfront for something that I don't need, right? So this will not only increase your show rates, but also increase your close rates, right? Another thing that you can work on is definitely having an ecosystem in place, right? So what you want to do is like, say the lead form, they sign up, they book a call, right? You want to have automatic like newsletters being sent out to them. You want to have automatic like emails being sent out to them, providing them value with exactly what you do, because everybody likes free value, right? Then you want to make sure to nurture them the right way as well, right? And if they don't show up, right? Or if they do show up, anyways, regardless, put them into a free Facebook group. Make sure to try to funnel them into that as well. This way they'll be in your ecosystem. That way you can nurture them. That way you can have people who are your clients posting there as well of their wins, and they'll most likely want to show up to the call, right? The seventh tip that I have is what I call the Hail Mary. Obviously, one of the easiest ways to increase your show rates is by having more availability, right? And I had this problem myself. I was like, what? I have a lot of freaking leads. I have no way to like improve the freaking show rates. I've tried all these methods, so let me just double and triple, because even though my show rate is like pretty decent now, I just want more calls. And if I know 50% of them are not going to show up, so I might as well double book the calendar every single time. So at least I know one is guaranteed to show up, so that way I have more availability, and that way I don't waste my freaking time, The final step I have for you guys is called Super Hail Mary. So that means you essentially, this strategy will just eliminate no-shows completely, right? With this strategy, right, you're not making anyone book in the calendar. There's no funnel in place, right? They just click the lead form, right? Or they book a calendar or whatever. Like just book a lead form. They submit their details, and you have a team of appointment setters who pre-qualify them and live transfer you to them on standby if they're available to speak now. If they're not available to speak right now, obviously schedule them for later. But if make sure to prioritize the people who are able to speak right now. So therefore, like obviously, you'll just have more people to speak to during the day, and obviously that will improve your show rates anyways. So that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys are going to implement these systems to help you increase your show rates, right?